It'll show just a minute. Yeah, we're live right now. We are live
Awesome.
now with Matthew Elmer. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
We know each other from the Success Alliance, the Go Giver
Yeah.
Success Alliance, and I really appreciate you taking the time to see me. I see us, all of us. If you hit, have you used StreamYard before?
This is my first time on StreamYard. I've used Zoom
Oh,
quite a bit, but
uh,
StreamYard too.
if you click on comments to the right, when we have comments, they'll be there.
Okay,
So,
awesome.
since I started recording during the day, it's not as many live, but I do have a lot of people in the group. So, they were looking forward to hearing what you have to say because, of course, the hot topic is anything social media.
Yeah.
And you happen to be the aficionado for Clubhouse, I hear.
Oh, I've done a few things on Clubhouse. I've had some success on TikTok, a little bit of YouTube, and mostly I'm a business builder. So we use social for the purposes of helping build businesses. Is kind of my purpose. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Now I want to hear some background about the direct sales thing you alluded to.
Yeah, you
Do
mentioned that.
you dare say which one, or you're not going to say which one?
Well, no, I can share some of the ones. I think I was like most young, spunky kids. I I was really young. I was mowing lawns, and I was making $2,000 a month as a lawnmower.
Whoa.
And so when I got into college, I was trying to find ways to make money, but I didn't have a lawnmower anymore because I was at college. So after doing Don Lepre's late night infomercial stuff, I was gullible and trying to find solutions, and ran into a couple MLMers at one point in time and kind of dipped my feet in the water. Never really had much success, but when I I ended up working actually in a sewer. I won't tell my whole life story, but I was working in a sewer. And
Wow.
obviously that's a crappy job,
Boo.
Yeah, and so I won't tell you those stories. Those are some horrible stories. But I wanted to really, expand, and I started reading Robert Kiyosaki's books. And Robert talked, he was an advocate for direct sales. And so it kind of had me, looking at, what do I do? And I found a company that was a real estate education company that did direct sales. So essentially it was an Australian two-up, compensation model. But when I signed up, I said, look, I've tried direct sales. I've even made a little bit of money in it, but I'm not doing that. I am here for the real estate alone. And I spent the first year just devouring the education. I bought 4 rental properties, and I was working a sales job at the time. And Robert Kiyosaki says that if you want to learn how to be a great entrepreneur, you got to learn how to be a great communicator. And if you want to be a great communicator, the best place to learn that is sales. And sales is a 4-letter word in my family, right? So
Everybody's family, I think.
yeah, exactly. And so I was trying to figure out how is it that I, get into this world. And so I liked real estate. I was doing sales, and I'd broken into kind of, doing a sales job, and I was making 6 figures, and I was doing really well. But I had my second son, and I was like, I'm heading towards a path of not knowing my children because I'm working like crazy and I'm not around, and I don't want that life. And so I decided to I went to my buddy who had signed me up for this educational program. I said, I think I'm ready to start talking to some people about this. And I also had a mentor who I was coaching with, and at that time I had this vision of building this real estate empire. And I went through a visualization process with him. And I won't share the details, unless you want me to. But at the end of the visualization, what I came up with was that my purpose in life was not about building some real estate empire, but rather about helping others build wealth. And so I had at my fingertips this program that had been helping me buy real estate, and I thought, why not share it? And so I, over the next 6 months, made about 150 grand in direct sales. It kind of helped me because I ended up quitting my job and made only 25 grand in the first 6 months, and then I had that experience, and then I made 150 in the next 6 months, which was basically double what I was making in the previous experience. And then that led to continuing my real estate career. And so I always have an affinity for those that do direct sales. I think it's a great launching pad. And for some, it may be the end game. It may be the ultimate game for them. For me, I felt called to more control and more abilities to really be in control of everything in my own life. And so I went into real estate and then built educational programs. We can talk more about my background in a minute, but but direct sales and learning how to communicate was a key part of my entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, so we have it. Matthew is a control freak. No, I actually don't find sales and direct sales very different. I'm confused when people look down their nose at me being in network marketing, because for me, it seems like I'm a salesman that happens to be a manager and I have a team that I manage. It doesn't seem different than that.
Yeah.
Does it to you, or?
No, I think once again, it's at the end of the day, for me, sales is about sharing and assisting others in recognizing what they're after in a certain arena of their life, and then delivering on that if the product I have does so. And so, direct sales gives you a way to do that in usually multiple ways. We buy doTERRA. We're not involved in their direct sales program, but we love their oils. My wife likes their oils. There's other programs we buy from that we believe in their products. And then there's also this opportunity of, compared to a job, the ability to go out and leverage the accounting work that they put together, the compensation plan efforts that went into that. And by the way, when we started our company, we considered becoming a direct sales company. And so there's a lot that goes into, that other side of the organization. And I think that it's really, really nice for people, especially sort of the sales profile minded people, to be able to step into something where they don't have to be as organized. They don't have to, be in accounting or a structured mind as well. And they can just go be themselves and share themselves and make money doing that with a lot of freedom that they wouldn't get inside of a job. I think it's awesome. I think it's a great vehicle for people, and especially if they do want to become entrepreneurs in the long term. There's definitely a stigma around it, and that's kind of challenging. And
yeah. I know it's kind of funny, because I even get today. I've been in the top 10 money earners in my company, which I will remain nameless for a couple decades, and I still have relatives say, when are you going to go get a real job? Yeah, but for me, it was the best, the best of both worlds, because I adopted an infant as a single person. So to be able to, when the bus comes and drops the kid off, I'm here. And actually, my kid doesn't think I work, which is sad, sad on a bunch of levels. But my kid is funny, where he says, he doesn't want to grow up and get a life-sucking job. And I said, I don't have a life-sucking job. You get to decide that. And he's confused, because he said, you're unusual. And I said, no, you get to pick. And he says, all my other friends' parents complain about their life-sucking job. But I still can't get him to realize that it's his choice.
Yeah. How old is he?
16.
Oh, okay. So we have the same age. By the way, so awesome. My aunt adopted a child when she was a single mom, and now she's married and wonderful. We're really close to her. She's sweet as could be. And so I'm that's awesome that you've done that. And it sounds like our kids are at the same stage. Yeah, me and my son talked about this the other day. I have 3 boys, a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And actually, I'm an entrepreneur so that I can be a dad. That's the way I see it. I'm an entrepreneur so that I can be at my kids' football games at 3:30 in the afternoon. I've coached my kids most of their life. And I also then love teaching them the principles that are coming from these life experiences. We're talking right now about, how to communicate with his coach, and how to handle difficult situations. And so it's just, to me, life is an awesome opportunity to teach our kids the experiences that will make them great entrepreneurs if we're willing to catch those opportinities and stuff. So I
Are
love.
your kids, how many kids do you have?
So I have the three. Yeah. So my
3.
oldest.
Oh, that blows my mind. I have one, I'm in over my head, and I know it.
Yeah.
But there's only one of me. You have 2, your
I do.
wife, so that's
I'm
helpful.
incredibly blessed. We've homeschooled them most of our lives.
Oh, that's awesome, but I'm not willing to take on that mountain.
It's not for everybody. We're homeschool advocates, but we're not homeschool Nazis. So you don't have to be, you definitely don't have to homeschool to raise great kids. But what we do encourage is what you're doing. It's you be engaged in their life, and what homeschool's been for us is a way of not protecting them from the world, because they're going to live in the world, but
Right.
but how do you prepare them as fully for I'm not a big fan of this sort of concept that there's a bunch of evilness out there. I think the world's a beautiful place. It's complicated, it's challenging, it's full of difficulties, but if we can give our kid, this is the one thing I would say that I've seen in trying to raise entrepreneurs. And most parents feel their role is to protect their kids. And I think we do need to do that, especially at young ages. But more importantly, we must trust our kids, because how else are they going to learn to trust themselves if the most important figures in their life don't trust them? And so learning that balance of teaching them that they're trustworthy will empower them, so that when they have that idea one day to become an entrepreneur, to step into an idea that they're like, oh, I don't know, but will it work? Will it not? They can have enough trust to take the action that would actually lead to the results that we would hope that they would. So
Well, that's awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, we play a game, and I used to do this when I was married to people around me. I seem to just play this game with. When I see somebody in business, whether they do something good or something bad, I have to analyze the whole thing. Like if someone's open 7 days a week, I'm talking about how they're affording to do that and the cost of their operation and stuff. And my kid and I talk about that all the time, because I talk about that with everybody all the time. So I think he is getting some entrepreneurial information that he doesn't hear anywhere else. I'm
Yeah.
hoping.
I remember when we were talking in the car with my son, and I said, so we went to this guy, right? And this is back in the day, I was looking for a Dodge Ram, right? We talked to this guy, and after we done, we analyzed it, and I said, okay, so let me tell you, when sales happens when people, and Bob talks about it, knows, like, and trust. Right? I used a little bit different. I used, they must have trust, they must have credibility, and must have likability, right? And so my first question is, did you like that guy? And he was really nice to my son. He said, yeah, he was a nice guy. I was like, yeah. I said, now the second thing is, did he have the credibility? Now, when we were, a lot of times when I go truck shopping or car shopping, I know more than the car. It drives me nuts that I know more than the car dealer does. But this guy, what he did is he deferred to someone who knew the answers. And so we talked about that. I said, now did that add or take away from his credibility? And as my son's probably only 10 at the time, he's like, I think that added. I was like, yeah, because he didn't pretend to be someone that he wasn't, right? He was honest and went and got the answers. He was still my advocate for what I was trying to get, but he got the answers that I needed. So could I trust him? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, so would you want to buy from a guy like that? And he's like, yeah, I would. I said, yeah, me too. Right. So I love looking for those lessons with our kids, on how to teach them these principles that actually will create opportunities and successes for them. So
It's funny. One of my nightmares is he's thinking about doing a shift down at Dunkin'. And I said, the only reason I don't want him working down there is they have bad habits. They're not training their staff.
Oh, yeah.
So we talk about that all the time. So when we go through, we actually had one of the Dunkin' people, I ordered like 3 people's worth of stuff in the drive-through. She said to me that, at the window, she said, not high, not what's your money. She said, that's too much food. Next time, come in.
Oh.
And even my kid is like, wait a minute, that wasn't right. And I said, no, you're supposed to, this is what we're supposed to say when we're, so like my kid probably could work down there I'm just afraid their bad habits would rub off.
I think that's really important. My son's on his second job, and he went to his first job, and one he did. It's crazy what they make now. He's making $12 an hour at 16 years old. I'm like, oh my goodness. But
Yeah,
but went to his
right.
first job, and we would talk about, like, okay, what are you experiencing? What is your boss teaching you, and how are you interacting with, and having that conversation and seeing that, yeah, I'm not his boss, but can we talk about how to make him a better employee? What was cool is when he was running the register, now they have the stripe things where you can tip when you
Yep.
order something.
Oh,
When he
yeah.
would register, they would get an extra $2 an hour per tips because the way he treated people, right? And they started to notice that when other people took the register, no one got as much tips. So he was on the register. And so I just help him understand that life and money is just an exchange of value. And if you can find ways in your business, so whether you're going to be, I'm not against employees. In fact, my oldest son, he realistically may not be an entrepreneur. He really does really well when people tell him what to do, and he's a structured mind. And as much as I'd love him to be an entrepreneur, he may be one that really would do better with a set of, parameters around him. My second son, no way. He's he's definitely going to be an entrepreneur, right? So how can we, though, help them to be of highest value in whatever realm they're in? Because that's where money is exchanged, is when people perceive the value that you are delivering. So
No, I think that's perfect. And I feel funny always talking about that, whether my friends make fun of me, but I'm like, hey, listen, that's going to make a difference in how. And so what he's doing is he took some classes in animation. His big thing is art.
oh yeah,
And it's hard because I said, I love art. I love that you're artistic, everything artistic, but don't forget, you have to be able to support yourself.
yeah.
So he set up his own little art thing, and he's got other people working on an animation and everything with him. So
That's incredible. And
we'll
let him
see.
go for it. My son's doing the same. He's got a Instagram called Meet the Derps. And he draw this character. It's, kind of like you've seen these different, like, pop figures and stuff come out, like a certain style, and then you can draw like anything with it. So he's got where the mouth is even with the eyes is kind of his thing. Well, he drew one for Mr. Beast, and last year we got a chance for him to meet Mr. Beast, and he gave him the drawing. And
Oh, neat.
so we're working. In fact, right after this, I'm doing a homeschool lesson with them on how to build. We're building, teaching to put together the plan and the processes, and how to look at the financial.
Are you breaking up a little bit? Okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry about that. Yeah.
No, that's all right. You're freezing a little bit. I just wanted to mention it because people watching might think not that's happening to them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So sorry about that. I should have.
No, that's right.
Gigabyte internet and high speed. So yeah, so that's to me, this is what's great about being an entrepreneur, is we see these opportunities. Entrepreneurs and our creative minds are always looking for solutions. And I think, as when you're raising kids, part of those solutions are, how is it that we can bring this into their lives as well? So
yeah, I'm getting a little bit nervous because 16, 17, 18. It's not that I'm going to shove them out the door or anything, but to me, that's got to be, you got to be able to support yourself.
yeah, absolutely.
So.
And there's a time in life where it makes sense, I think, to work a job for a period while you explore building a business on the side, which is a great thing about, direct sales. A lot of people do that with direct sales. And that's a great way to do it. Or you can just, build a separate business on the side. Nowadays,
Yeah.
many businesses will have kind of all at the same time. So you kind of have to learn how to.
Yeah, it's alluring to get $12 an hour down at Dunkin'.
Yeah.
And they do too. Hey, listen, tell me more about some of the things you are into now. Is TikTok and YouTube. And so tell me the video thing. I get it, but I don't get it. So why is that so popular compared to anything else, having some video?
Yeah. So let's talk about platforms real quick, because I think this is really the key to understand. Well, let me answer your video question real quick, and then we'll talk about. So video it's the most connected that we can become with someone else, compared to audio alone, or compared to writing. It's just there's a personal nature and connectedness.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody needs connection in life. Like, well, I believe in Tony Robbins' 6 human needs models, and different people layer connection at different places, right? And then also we have the different learning styles. So some are auditory, some are whatever. But video does seem to be the most connecting environment. And we've seen this over the last year as things have taken place and people have gone to Zoom and found they can actually still be relatively effective even without meeting in person. And there's still a deep connection that's possible. Is it as deep as in person? Yeah, probably not. But it's still usually sufficient. And sometimes in business and in life, sufficient is better than, the ultimate. So I think that's why video is so powerful and popular, is because of the connection that it creates between us. And we are connecting creatures, most of us in this aspect. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the platforms. So the video platform. Oh, I'm getting some background noise. Is that your
No, that's my dog.
Oh, okay. You're good. Okay.
Sorry, my life is chaos. We're bound to have some barking here pretty soon.
Well, hey, reality. That's great. That's great. I just want to make sure I'm
the squeaky toy.
There you go. I've got kids to help me keep my dog quiet. So
oh yeah, mine's at school.
Oh yeah.
Not at the dreaded high school. Yeah. Ooh,
yeah. So okay, so let's look at the idea of I have a message and I want to get it out to the world. Okay, so what are my different options for doing that, right? So I can build a website, yes, but people have to come to the website, right? So I can go pay per click and I can buy people to come to my website. That is an option out there, but that's very expensive. We did that in 2016. We spent $1 million to bring people to our websites, to come to our events and show up, right? And that can work. But what happened to me was we'd spent this $1 million and I thought, man, like sometimes we'd spend 15,000 or even 50,000 and get terrible results, like barely make money back. Right. And so that can be a challenging thing. And so I was looking for solutions, which, we do as entrepreneurs. I was looking for solutions. And what I saw was a guy named Casey Neistat. And Casey was just sharing his life. Now, he's really talented at doing it. He was a great storyteller, and his videos were compelling. But he just shared his life, and then he would drip what he was doing in business and how he was building this business called Beam, which became a pretty decent-sized social media platform and was sold to CNN later on, right? And I thought, man, this is genius. One, it looks really fun. Like what he's doing is creative in nature. It's interesting, right? He's always coming up with, and I'm sure he's spending a lot more of his time working on the company too. But he was creating this following of people that were interested in him and connected with him, and then he was allowing them to experience the business as a secondary aspect of who he is. And so that became really intriguing to me. And so specifically speaking about the platforms so I looked at the options for doing that, and Facebook has been around for a while, but Facebook is by nature
You froze.
Lost you for a second. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you only see your friend's stuff. So you only see what you post, what your friends post, or maybe your friends of your friends, and then ads. And that's it, right? You don't see some random stranger's post unless your friend shares it with you. Okay, so it's a friend and existing connection social network. Instagram is a little bit better. You can go to the kind of For You or the main page and look at what other people are doing, and that it gives you a little more exposure, so it's a little bit better for growing. And there are people that are great at Instagram growth, but what's different about TikTok and YouTube specifically is that if you keyword your topic effectively, and then you are effective at getting people to stay and watch your videos, YouTube does a promotion for you. It's free promotion. So if I'm in a business and I'm trying to get other people to know what it is that I do, what's better, paying for that or having someone, a big conglomerate, do that for me? And that is something where you just have to figure out what is it that they're looking for, and understanding the algorithm. And if you can get, and it's not, I mean, you can get really technical and complicated, and if you're huge, then that's really great. But there's just some simple things that if you just get clear on how to play with the algorithm, then you can grow a following. And that's what we did. So we started a YouTube channel with our RV, we started traveling around the country in our RV, and our videos originally were how to. So people would search us like by going on YouTube and how to, connect your black tank, how to refill your water on your RV, right? And I did a bunch of how to's. But when they showed up, I gave them us. I gave them a family. I gave them personality. And so the how to is more than just a how to. And then it became a vlog. And then the vlog, and then more people started watching, which I was like, what are people doing? Why are they even watching us? And then we used collaboration by connecting with others that were in similar fields, right? And they already had following, we were building following, and so we shared the people that are following, right, by doing a collaboration. And so video is a way to do that, and TikTok and YouTube work the same way in that way, where if you produce something of value, they will push it out there. And so for me, that's why I think social media in a video format is awesome. And then secondarily would be audio, which is your podcast.
Now, for someone here thinking about doing YouTube, it doesn't have to be about what you're selling.
No.
Matter of fact, it would be, you weren't selling RV equipment.
No, I wasn't. Yeah.
No. You were talking about you and something that you liked.
Yeah.
And then they were along for the ride, right?
Exactly. Now, vlogging is a little bit so let's just take an example. Give me a product, and we'll explore like what a YouTube channel could be. So give me like
lipstick.
Lipstick. Okay, perfect. Okay. Now lipstick is, we can be a little more deliberate, right? Because there's tons of beauty people on YouTube, and you may say, well, it's already saturated. There's no more room. I'm telling you, every year people say that, and then some new player on the block shows up, and they boom. I'm a woodworker guy. I've been getting into woodworking, right? And there's guys that weren't even on YouTube like a year and a half ago, and they're almost 1 million subscribers now, right?
Whoa.
Because they understand, they're giving the audience what other people aren't giving them. Right now, part of it was because a lot of the woodworkers were older generation. They were in their 50s, right? And so now some of these young guys in their 40s or 30s that are doing woodworking speak to a different audience, right? Here's a major thing that I think this applies to everything in business. And if you have a voice and you want to get it out there, what you have to understand is, if I sell lipstick and you sell lipstick and she sells lipstick and whoever else sells lipstick, we're all going to sell it in a different way. In fact, now I'm not inclined to sell lipstick, but you might say there's no way that a man could sell lipstick, right? He doesn't even wear it, right?
No, the top sellers in our company are men.
Yeah.
So I never say that.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be the first thought that someone would be like, hey, but a man is going to be able to sell lipstick to men, potentially, maybe even better than a woman. Or he may be able to sell lipstick to a woman in a different way, speaking from the influence that a man may have over what his opinion is on how well a woman would look with this type of lipstick, right? And then you have different, we have some men who are a little more feminine in nature, and they're going to be able to bring a charisma and a style that someone of my style wouldn't be able to bring. So we all bring to the table this amazing, unique set of personality traits that if we just own it and then share it, even if there's someone down the street is talking about the same exact message, they're not going to get my audience, because my audience is looking for me. And so I'm just looking for those who connect with me. So hopefully that makes sense.
No, it does. What's funny is I have a hard time with some of my team even. They don't want to even put their picture on like their Facebook profile. And I keep trying to tell them it's not about how much you like to be photographed or how good you think you look. It's that the audience needs to know that you're a real person.
Yeah.
So I think on YouTube, it's going to be the same challenge for a lot of people, is that they're so thinking about themselves and how goofy they look or whatever it is, that they're not realizing it's about the value that they're bringing. It really doesn't have to. Guys don't think that way, do they? You're like, or do they?
No, well, I know I do have some good friends that do. I was blessed with an abundance of overconfidence. So, but it's mostly because I married a beautiful woman. I actually married two beautiful women in my life. Unfortunately, lost my first one, but and so maybe that's been part of it. But at the end of the day, this is what I would say. well, the first thing I'd say is if you knew how little people were thinking about you, you'd stop worrying about what they're thinking about you.
I've heard that before, and that is so true.
Right? But the other thing is this is most of us don't look like Brad Pitt. Most of us don't look like whoever the latest hottest model is. I can't think. My wife's the one that I think of when I think of beauty. But most of us don't. We aren't the most attractive people in the world. And most of us are very human. I get these little hairs sometimes that are just sticking out. We show up and we're worried about all these things, but the reality is that's most of us. That's most of us. And in fact, TikTok I love because I think TikTok, whereas Instagram, it's like put your best stuff out there and and try to show how great your life is. TikTok is like show how freaking normal you are, right? And in fact, like our TikTok is my wife in bed most of the time. Literally, that's how it started. My wife was in bed, and I just turned on a joke and recorded her reaction, and people went crazy, and it hit 800,000 views.
Whoa.
And we have 6 videos now over 1 million views, and it's just me catching her when she's kind of in a bad mood and playing something funny about our relationship. And she doesn't, and now she's a beautiful woman, but I'm not catching her at her peak, right? And she's always like, don't put that on there. And I'm like, oh, people love it, and they do. And my biggest videos are not. I've got this one video where she looks knockout. I mean, she's dressed up, just got done with her hair, whatever. It's got, I don't know, 20, 30,000 views, right? But I've got the ones where she's sitting in bed, just woke up for the morning, and I catch her, 1 million views. So this idea that we have to look a certain way is it's a lie. It's a lie. The truth is that what people want is relatedness. And if just take a moment and look around go look at the top YouTubers. Mr. Beast. Now he's a freaking creative. He's a funny guy. I don't think anybody's comparing him to Brad Pitt. I'm not saying he's an ugly guy, but he's not like some handsome devil. He's a creative mind who entertains people, and there's plenty of that out there. So if you're worried about what other people think about how you look, like, you have so much more value to bring to the table than how you look. And even
almost like get over yourself, right? It's not really about us.
Even if you were handsome, even if you were beautiful, like, is that all of it? Like, there's so much more to you than hiding behind just how beautiful you are too. So to me, I don't think any of us want to on our grave, here lies the most beautiful man in the world. Like, I would be sick if that's how I ended up, right? Like, yeah, I want to be considered handsome to my wife, but beyond that, like, it's like that's not my ultimate goal. Is that it's to be of impact, right? So yeah, don't let your looks get in the way of your impact, for sure. Great question.
I worry about my beautiful friends. I've got a couple friends that seem to have their value system is based on their looks. It's and I don't mean it in a negative way. They're happy, but I think the problem is going to be going forward because we ain't getting no younger, and right, looks aren't getting better. So I'm afraid they won't be happy with themselves because their value they think is wrapped around what they look like, and I don't think that about them, but I got a feeling they do. So all the rest of us shouldn't feel bad about making a video, making a TikTok, because what people want to see is just a real person.
Well, they want to see someone like themselves. And so someone who maybe struggles with weight, they don't watch a skinny little blonde and go, oh, I relate to that. No,
Right.
they relate to someone who has had the struggle. Now some skinny blondes have gone through some weight issues, right? And they've found a way. And I'm definitely one who encourages health. I think that's a wonderful thing. I'm not saying not to pay attention to how you look or to show up in your worst all the time. That's not what this is about. What it's about is that we have so much more impact than just how we look. And so, and I have plenty of friends that are YouTubers or Instagrammers, even Instagrammers, but and TikTokers that they looks is not their highest value asset, right? And good for this world that we don't have to be. It's not the 1990s anymore. So.
That's funny. It reminds me of the company that I rep for that I do well with was founded in 1886, and the first woman who went door knocking for them was from a town near me. So I get associated with her a lot. But I always mention that she was a handsome woman.
Oh yeah.
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 She was a handsome woman. Luckily, it didn't matter back then either.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, I think these are just things that we've been programmed from early in life, so is I
One
would
of
just
my
sit down.
now you froze a little.
Yeah, hold on one second. I'm going to do something here to help possibly make this not be such a problem.
Okay. By the way, everybody, Matthew's in Utah, and I'm in New Hampshire. That's probably it. The squirrels are holding up the internet connection. They're running as fast as they can, but it's a challenge. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure what's causing me to switch over to a direct connect line here. Thanks for being patient with me on the quality here. I'm not usually have this issue.
Yes. Usually, I mean, sometimes I have trouble because I don't know if you know this, I'm in New Hampshire.
Oh,
So
okay.
the squirrels are running as fast as they can, but
that's how they run the internet.
which my dog is thrilled about, by the way. Yeah. I went out this morning, there was a squirrel sitting in the middle of the yard, I almost lost my arm.
Oh.
It was like, oh no. Oh. So now I don't know if you I want to have you back me up. I'm hoping I talk about this with anybody who does any social media because I see this so much. A lot of our gang is on Facebook, and I see them posting things that are controversial. And if they're using Facebook for their business, I keep trying to say, don't take pictures of that open wound when you're at the doctor and post it on.
Yeah.
And don't talk about controversial topics unless you don't care that half the people are going to be offended by that. Now, how do you feel on that topic?
Yeah, that's a real challenge, right? Because there's this side of us, especially us freedom lovers, when we love entrepreneurship, we tend to love freedom, right? And so we kind of want to live outside of the box of everybody else and want to be able to say what we want to say and do what we want to do. There's a principle that was taught to me called the agreeable reality. It's by Landmark, and the agreeable reality says that when we desire to have the greatest influence and impact on those around us, we must understand the reality that they live in, right? Now, polarization can be a great thing. It can create a following in and of itself. There's some people who have chose sides of the current existing challenges going on, and because of their decision to take a side, they have grown a massive following as it relates to that. And if that is what you feel called to do, and you're willing to do the research to back up your position, I think it can work in some cases. Most of us are not going to do the heavy, the deep research, and we don't have time to engage in the ongoing back and forth and what about this and what about that and this and that and da 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 da. And so, and I'm clearly leaving out the key topics that we're discussing right now, but that are so prevalent on social media right now. But my point is, if you feel that you've done the research and you can back up and you want to spend a portion of your life with the reinforced data, then by all means, because you know what will happen is you will polarize and you will get rid of people that would otherwise follow you, but the people that follow you will love you. Okay, so polarization, there's argument for it. Most of us, though, don't operate in that world. We're not a Donald Trump who thrives on a little bit of polarization. And he literally thrived. He literally had more following than he would have had he not been so polarizing. Was that good or bad? I don't think it's the most effective way to do things overall, but it does create a following. So that's the question. So the challenge is that the principles of what create a following, as there's a realm in which you're trying to balance being so polarizing that nobody's following you because there's only 3 people that actually agree with all of your opinions. And then being so ambiguous that, oh, I love it all. And Donald Trump's great and Biden's the best. And like, we're like, oh, wonderful. Right. And people are like, oh, who are you? Like, I can't figure out where you relate to me. So I think we do want to figure out who we are. And then we want to figure out what are the conversations and battles that we want to engage in. And for most of us, I think it's very important that we understand. So I'll give you a little bit of a example of this. So I have a son who wants to play college football. Now, I don't know if he'll get the chance, but it is right now there's a polarizing environment out there in the college arena. And if you choose a side, you may not get to go to college because of your belief systems. If you're out there outwardly speaking against something that colleges disagree with, and a lot of them lean a certain way, you may not end up with a chance to go to that college. And so you have to ask yourself, is the end result that I want in line with this desire to speak freely about whatever I want to speak freely about, or this wound or this thing I want to show? And so to me, I just believe social media is more about getting directed at the objective that I'm after, and then speaking within the realm of that. And I'm a type of guy, I relate to both sides. I have some views that are very liberal, some views that are very conservative. I find myself more in the middle in a lot of things. I have tons of opinions on both sides of the current conversations going on around our health. And I don't necessarily, I have strong opinions, but they're not, but I also believe in the power of seeing humanity and seeing everybody's perspectives, because I think that unifying right now is actually a distinguishing capability, and the ability to unify people is important. And so if you're feeling like you want to be able to speak openly about something that unifies people, and that will create a following that will allow you to grow.
It sounds like you're probably libertarian too.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this about me. I ran 10 cycles for state rep in my district. Wow. I didn't get elected in any one of them.
Well, Abraham Lincoln a lot too. So, I
was doing my bit though. Yeah. Believe it or not, I actually got a lot of business from my direct sales company because I got interviews, I got TV time, I got articles in the paper, and all of them, if a guy ran, this really happened. If like the man in the town next door ran, they would say, Joe Smith, business owner from Goffstown. They always said about me, Lisa Wilbur, now I'm going to say the company name, Avon Lady, from where? They actually said the name of the company every time because they thought they were like, I don't know, getting me. They thought they were jabbing me. And in reality, because what the headline was, Avon Lady runs for the house. It's supposed to be funny. But in reality, I get business from it. So
that's awesome.
I was like, make fun of me all you want. I'm getting business from this. It was hard to overcome the third party. Even the libertarians said, run as a Republican because my district happens to be Republican. And I just couldn't do it because I can't go to the bank and tell them I'm a man either. To me, I have to say who I really am. I can't just, to be expedient, I can't do it. But a libertarian got elected in this district as a Republican. This time, right?
Well, there's a lot of games that happen in the world of business and the world of politics, and that's the part that you just have to figure out. Do you want to play the game? And I don't tend to choose to want to play games. I just like to. Well, here's the deal. I want to play the games that I'm comfortable playing, and there are games that I'm comfortable playing, and then there are games that are not. I'm not comfortable. In fact, when I grew up most of my life thinking I was going to grow older and take over my dad's business. Owns a construction company, and it had grown relatively large, and I started working for him, and I realized, like, this is an entrepreneurship. This is actually there's a lot of politics here, and in fact, having the same last name as the owner was not making it easy. Yeah, making it more. And I just didn't, those were games I didn't want to play. It wasn't to the fault of my dad or the business or anything. It's just the nature of corporations, right? Um, and so for me, what I looked for was, what are the games I want to play, right? And so I found real estate originally, and I thought, man, this is a game I like. Like, I can get it. I can translate the numbers. I can break it down. I can easily see that what a house is worth by looking at 3 or 4 other houses in the neighborhood and go, okay, if this is worth 100 and I can buy it at 50 or 60 and I can put $10,000 of work into it, I can make money. That makes sense, right? So I started playing games that were games, but they made sense to the way I wanted to play. I got into short sales. Short sales was a game where you negotiate with banks, and I loved it because I could now help someone who's going to foreclosure, and I didn't have to steal a house from them. I could go in and help them from having this credit mark of a foreclosure on their credit, and I could serve them. And in the return, I could buy a house. It took a house that had $1 million of debt on it, and I bought it for $343,000, and we sold it for $650. And we got a great deal. The bank got rid of the property, which they usually have a 10 times impact on whatever the value of the debt is. So they were having a $10 million impact. We bought it with giving them a great situation to get out of. And it made sense for us. We made a couple $100,000 on the property. Right. So when I got into education, I looked at all the other competitors that I had. Right. And they were all trying to like just squeeze people out of money and connive. And I started with, what's the product? Can we make sure we have a product that's going to get people results in the realm of real estate? And how do we build that? Well, how do people think? How do people learn? How does it that they respond to accountability? And if I could figure out that game and deliver that game effectively, then I can grow a company, right? And so to me, the games that are out there, there's all sorts of games, and you just got to figure out the games that you enjoy playing and that match up with your value system. If you do that, then the opportunities become invigorating and energizing versus exhausting, right? Which is what happens when you start playing, some of these political games and other games that
Yeah.
Don't really have an end. So
Yeah, I finally did throw in the towel, and I didn't run last time. It was good while it lasted, but
well, I'm glad that people are willing to do it. It's just not me. I'm glad that there are people that are willing to take that journey on. And I was listening to something that Trump said the other day, and they asked him how hard running the country was. And he said, well, the running the country part, not too bad. Dealing with Americans, the media, really, really tough. The hardest thing I've ever done. And so, and not that I think everything Trump did was perfect. I think that at the end of the day, life is complicated, and so we got to choose the games we want to play. Because to me, life is about energy, and how I've always been a guy about efficiencies in business, efficiencies in life, efficiencies in relationships. Sometimes you got to be careful with that one. But how do I get the greatest result with the minimum expenditure of energy? And so if we look at life and we're constantly, and this is why trading time for dollars is such a bad idea, because you get the minimum response to a maximum amount of effort. And so building a direct sales business gives you a chance to, you may exert even more energy for 2 or 3 years, but when you look over a period of 12 years, the return can be dramatically much, much better for the effort that you put in versus the reward. Building your own business is even more difficult to get started. Those first 2-3 years can be exhausting. Absolutely. I remember when we started building that company, I would have to stay up all night long, one night a week, to keep up with everything that was going on. But that turned into, what became a really, successful business, and be able to hit Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies, and, hit a dream that I'd always had. So,
it's funny. I think I'm like you in the way that I'm entrepreneurial thinking, but not to the point where I can't do the direct sales, because that is a lot of political stuff. But I end up doing side projects that, like, I did a book set, and I did speaking, and I do stuff so I can flex my entrepreneurial muscles while still staying in my little safe company.
and that, I want to honor that, because that's a skill set in and of itself. Like, so there's I'm not the right personality for everybody. My way of choosing to live entrepreneurship is not right. In fact, some people would fail trying to do things the way that I do it but succeed doing it the way you do it. Right. And so which one's better, to do it my way and fail, or to do it your way and have that laser focus and then have these side opportunities and be able to stay in your realm and not have to worry about some of these other things? You've created tremendous success. You know, you're top 10 in your company. Like who's to argue with that? And that's one of the things I've realized about life, is that I'm trying to be careful about living in a world where I've got it all figured out, because there's a lot of ways, you know, a lot of people are sitting around, these kids need to stop playing video games. They need to get off the video games. Well, what I've done with my kid, he loves playing video games. And I've said, okay, here's the deal. If you love playing video games, I don't know, there's guys making millions right now playing video games. So let's figure that out. Okay, bud?
Yeah.
Let's figure that out. Now, what he's learned.
I say that too.
Yeah, he started a Twitch channel. He's got 1,500 followers on Twitch. He started a YouTube channel. He's got 40 followers on YouTube right now. He's learning how to edit in Premiere. He could take that resource and create a whole business on editing videos now. So what
I actually don't understand the parents that restrict that. I don't understand that. It's not like that stuff's going away.
Yeah.
Right.
And so to me, it's like, can we see beyond our own truths that maybe don't have all the truth? It's not fully set in what's really true, and look at what opportunities are. And that's what's been cool. And I said, the only parameter I have for you, Ben, is that you just can't play video games just for the sake of playing video games. But I don't know if you're going to be the next like best video game player out there in the world, and you're going to go make $1 million because you can go compete in competitions and win. I said, we can kind of figure that out and see how your progress is, and see if you're on track to be able to do that. But, you know, there's a lot of guys that aren't top tier video game esports guys, but have YouTube channels and have Twitch channels that make, $10,000 a month, $50,000 a month. Not a ton, but there's enough that it's a possibility. So, and I'm a guy that lives in possibility. You know, my son wants to play in the NFL. He's, you know, maybe going to be 5'10". Is that going to be possible? I don't know. Cole Beasley's there. He made it. So let's live with possibility and have contingency understandings that we're learning all along the way. And at whatever point he has to throw in the towel on football, he's learned so much about life, so much about teamwork, so much about leadership, that he can step into anything else that he wants to do at that point and still have a great career, great opportunity. So anyways, I get excited about the kid thing. You can't tell.
Yeah, and all you guys listening, when we were talking about doing a TikTok channel and on a YouTube channel and stuff like that, the way I look at it is I'm playing the Pink Floyd song, Another Brick in the Wall. Every show is a brick in the wall. Every video is a brick in the wall. And it's not going to be overnight. It's going to be, for me, it's going to be a slow build. That's what I count on. I don't necessarily think I'm going to get a big giant following, but then it gets to be like a snowball going downhill.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was, my original real estate ambition was, I'm going to go buy one property and I'm going to have $100 or $200 of cash flow. Then I'm going to buy another property. And it blew my mind. I was sitting in a meeting. I crazy story. So I'd signed up for this training. This is a training that changed my life. But the night before the training, I'm at another meeting. I'm actually at a direct sales meeting, right? For this company. And we just wrapped up a 3-day event where we were, selling our programs. And I'm driving home on my motorcycle and I'm sitting at a red light and a lady, bam, smashes me from behind.
Whoa.
Flipping over her SUV. My bike goes flying. There happens to be an EMT. He comes over. They get me to hold still until the ambulance comes. I call my wife with the cell phone up in the helmet. Hey, honey, everything's okay. What do you mean everything's okay? I'm heading to the hospital. I just got hit on my motorcycle. Oh my goodness, right? Well, blessings, because I met a guy who had the same exact situation 2 years later, and he just was starting to be able to walk. All I had was a broken tailbone. I had a 5:30 flight in the morning. I get out of the hospital at 3:30, and I said, honey, I got to pack for my flight. So I pack for my flight and I take a flight to an event. And at this event, this guy shared what you're talking about. And he said, the value of video out there in the market is just like little bits and pieces of cash flow. Now that cash flow isn't always directly cash, but it's impact, it's connection, it's relationship. And if, as long as somewhere along the line there is an opportunity for an exchange of cash through some sort of product sale, or whether it's Avon or whether it's something like that, then these are exactly like you said. They're bricks in the wall. They're ways. They're cash flow building pieces that if you build over time, then you can have cash flow for forever. And so the cash flow really shifted for me at that point. And also I realized if I build businesses that I systemized, that was as important as owning an asset that produced cash flow. That an asset in a business that would cash flow for me was just as valuable as an asset in real estate that would cash flow for me. And frankly, getting to $200 a month in income on YouTube or whatever can cost you a lot less than going out and spending $100,000-$200,000 on a property, even if you're only putting the 10% or 20% down. And so for some people who are never going to have the 10 or 20% to put down, then start building the assets in video and social, and let those grow for you and be the bricks in the wall that you say, that then build a fortress for you and give you the cash flow that you want.
And the YouTube channel is free, and TikTok is free. Just start building.
You can learn how to do it all right there on YouTube. I learned everything I know how to do on YouTube. Yeah.
And just get better as you go. Get better as you go. And you do have to I think you do have to tell people that you're doing it. You do have to get people to go and see your stuff, not just put it up there and hope for the best. I do think that it involves, don't you?
Well, going back to what I said, what's interesting about YouTube and TikTok is like, so we now have 32,000 followers. I don't know 32,000 people. I don't know 32,000 people, but we have 32,000 followers. Why is that? Well, it's because I in fact, I hope that I don't have any friends that follow me, because my stuff's kind of ridiculous. But although I was outside, my neighbor goes, "Hey, I just saw your TikTok that's going viral." So, anyway, so it was cool.
Oh no, you went like this. You said, "Ooh."
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's what's cool about, if you can nail the value that people are looking for. And actually, in this little gift thing that I've got for people, I talk about in the 5th principle, the keys to going viral. And one of those keys is in giving people something that they can relate to, right? And so what happens with either YouTube or TikTok is that if you can give something that people relate to, whether it's something hard that you're dealing with, whether it's a goal that you have, whether it's something that you're challenged by, just something that maybe it's a stereotype in your family. My wife's got this new Instagram thing she reads. It's about teenagers, and she's like, "This is so nice, because now I know I'm not the only one who's got kids that eat their food in the basement," right? It's like so it's like that. What makes virality is when people go, "I relate to that," yeah. And then if you can add a little pinch of pattern interrupt, where it's got some humor to it, or it's got some sort of element of, it's not just like, "Hey, do your kids leave your stuff in the basement too?" Like, okay, I'm not going to share that. Add the humor element to it, and all of a sudden people are like, and what I've done is I've just leaned on other people that are funnier than me in my TikTok. And that's kind of how TikTok works, is that you just take something that somebody else has made and you place your own content over it, and then it's shareable, right? And so that's a great way to leverage. If you're not very funny, leverage other people that are funny. I'm okay. I'm not the funniest guy out there. I feel like I have a sense of humor, but I'm definitely not a comedian. So I leverage other people that are. And so TikTok, YouTube, you actually don't have to go tell all your family and friends about what you're doing, because if you hit a relatedness with the market that you don't know, then they'll relate to you, and then you can grow and you can have it. And frankly, there's tons of people on TikTok who do not talk about their MLMs. I know they have MLMs that they work with, their network marketing or direct sales that they work with, and they never say a word, but they're funny as heck, and people love them, and they connect with them, and then they find ways to then relate to them or connect with them, maybe over on Facebook or over on Instagram, where there maybe is more about their
plus if they Google them, and they'll probably come up. Like if you Googled my name, you'd get my company affiliation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
awesome. So make sure everybody that's listening and in the replay too, it's MatthewElmer.com/gift.
Got a gift for
And
you.
Yes, got a gift right there for you. And thank you so much. We're already at the hour. I really appreciate your time. I have one last question for you. It's the famous one.
Okay.
Is it cookies, sea salt caramels, or brownies are your favorite?
Those are all tempting. I would say probably brownies. Yes.
Oh, brownie is their #1 selling product. But I'm going to send these, in matter of fact, from Salt Lake, which is right near you, so you'll get them right away. It's from Send Out Cards. So I'm going to be sending you some brownies for being such an awesome guest.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate that. And if you'll stay right there for a moment, we'll go back to the green room and I'll stop the recording. But I really appreciate you, Matthew.
Awesome. Great being here. I hope everybody got some value and enjoys their adventures in sales and in business.
Thank you.